Good morning from JB's Brick Shack, Julia Carroll. Today is January 21st. I believe it is day 6 or 7 of Carnivore. I'm not exactly sure. It's all blending into one day. Probably 7. I think it's 7. Okay, let me just say I'm feeling a little better today than I was yesterday. In fact, I filmed my last video yesterday, almost exactly 24 hours ago, and I feel much better. However, I had a miserable day and an all night. I have officially been fasting now for almost 24 hours. It's 23 and a half at this point. 9:30, it'll be about 24. And all I got to say is, even though I have fasted for 24 hours, I still feel full. I have a pain in my side. I had pains in my side, my back, all last night, and I know it's due to constipation. And I was so bloated, I could not even sleep. Laying down hurt my stomach so bad. I had to get up and sort of sleep sitting up in kind of a recliner. So I dozed off and on, and I didn't officially go back to sleep until about 2:30 this morning. And it was a miserable night. And it's my fault. I jumped into Carnivore without actually researching how to phase into it, because when you start adding a whole bunch of fattier cuts of meat, adding a bunch of fat, you're not eating the carbs you used to eat, especially in my case, some roughage, because I would eat things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, asparagus. I occasionally ate beans. I did have a high fiber bread that I would eat, and a few fruits here and there. And when I try to be good and not eat the processed foods such as, Ben and Jerry's ice cream, Baskin and Robbins, cookies, chocolate, stuff like that. If I just try and eat a whole foods, I tend to do a little better. I do tend to eat fruits and vegetables. I do love a chicken Caesar salad, one of those chicken Caesar salad kits from the store. So my problem last night is my discovery that too much protein and fat, when you are not used to it, your body cannot process it right out of the chute. So you get this problem. I have kind of some significant constipation where I'm going to have to buy a stool softener, potentially even a laxative, because I have not eliminated in a few days. So I'm starting to get a little worried about that. In fact, all night last night, all I'm praying is, dear Jesus, please let me have a bowel movement. Please let me have a bowel movement. Please help me. I mean, all night for about 8 hours. All night. Please help me. Please help me. Eventually, around 2 o'clock, it did relieve. My back pain and side pain were a lot better. And they're a lot better right now, but I can still feel it. And I do not like Carnivore. I do not like Ketovore. And I am not going to continue it. It is not for me. I know everybody would say, well, push through. I am so to the point where even though it's been 24 hours, I still don't want to eat. I've had a couple cups of black coffee. I don't want to eat any food. I may not want to eat until 3 or 4 o'clock tonight. I may not even want to eat then. All I do is look at the food that's in the refrigerator, meat, and be like, oh, hell no. No. So it might be that I'll be doing another 24 hours simply because I don't want to eat, and I certainly can't eat the meat I have in the refrigerator. I've got some ground beef that's cooked, and just the thought of it makes my stomach turn right now. So I might have to go to the store and buy myself something. I might even have to buy myself a little like bone broth to drink, just something light. I do have some like bouillon cubes. I might make myself periodically drink a little bit of bouillon. I will be taking some electrolytes. I bought some Himalayan pink salt. I've got the potassium chloride, and I have the magnesium coming. So I'll take some of that because I like the idea of the electrolytes. But I just do not like Carnivore, Ketovore. I think I will just go back to eat more vegetables, and I am going to make myself a little bit of lentils or pinto beans, and just a small amount, and kind of keep myself to the point where if I do eat vegetables and fruit or things like lentils or beans, maybe small amount to try it. Still continue to do the fasting, but slowly over time incorporate adding fattier cuts of meat. Like I said yesterday, we were a family and never ate fatty cuts of meat, and I have not purchased fatty cuts of meat for myself through almost my entire adult life. So it's a new experience to buy, fattier cuts of steak or beef, and I'm not accustomed to that. So maybe it can be periodically over time trying out what an 80-20 ground beef does, but not after, 5 days of stuff like a whole bunch of fat and meat and rendered fat like pork fat. I never used to eat bacon. It was once in a blue moon I'd eat bacon. It was always Canadian bacon. There's hardly any fat on Canadian bacon. So I was really a very lean fat type of person. I always ate more protein, but the fat is just so difficult to bring in there. I don't want to light up the carb thing or the food noise, and I am a little concerned about that. Although, in perfect honesty, vegetables have never lit up the little devil on my shoulder. He doesn't care about vegetables. I've never craved vegetables. It's never been, oh, you just need to eat another cup of that broccoli. That's never been a problem. Never in my life. And to my knowledge, broccoli has never done anything. It's never torn my stomach up. Honestly, this constipation and what I felt last night was the worst my stomach's ever been. And I have consistently overloaded it with junk food periodically for years. And just the over-consuming of protein and fat for days on end took me over the edge where nothing has ever done that before. I have never felt like that before. I cannot recall one time if I've ever felt that way. It's been, 20 or 30 years ago. It's so far away. And even eating my worst amount of food, and I can pack it in. I would eat a gallon of ice cream. I would have a bag of chips. I could eat one of the big bags of M&Ms and cookies. I could eat all of that. And yeah, it'd be uncomfortable, but it was never like last night. All day yesterday, a full 24 hours of bloating, my stomach just terrible, increasing back pain, nausea like I'm going to throw up. I have never felt that, even eating a tremendous amount of junk food. So I've got to say, no vegetable I have ever eaten has torn my stomach up. My digestion, like all meat and all fat did. Never. Neither has any fruit. And fruit does light up the idea to want to keep eating. I admit that. But it's possible that at this point, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't want a repeat of last night. It was horrible. And even now, I can't stand the thought of food. Nothing is appealing to me right now. So I'm just going to go with it. My body doesn't want to eat. I'm not going to eat. Because I think I'm finally at the position where I'm not so bloated and I can move. I was hunched over. My sides and my back hurt so bad last night. I was hunched over, couldn't stand up straight. I can at least stand up straight now. But I'm not too thrilled with carnivore and ketovore. So the only thing I'd say, if anybody ever sees this, if you want to try carnivore, ketovore, go for it. But really, do not jump both big feet into it. I think if you've been eating a very low, lean meat, low fat type of food, it is a totally different animal to start increasing that fat in your meat and the fat in like butter, cheeses, bacon, rendered fat, tallow, whatever you use. It will be quite an adjustment, and you may find it completely puts you off carnivore or ketovore. So I would be very leery of jumping in both big feet. You might want to find how can I transition into this over 6 to 8 weeks so you're not impacted like this, because really it's no fun. it has left a bad taste in my mouth. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to continue it because it's left such a terrible taste in my mouth. I can't handle it. Now, I like the idea of increasing the meat and the fat. I do. I liked eating the meat and fat, but it might be one of those things that instead of all fatty meats or rendered fat like bacon, it's again becomes maybe I use a little more olive oil. Maybe I start using a little bit of butter when I make my chicken breast. Add more salt, but slowly over time increase the fat that I put, and not jump in both barrels, because like I said, I think it is something that you need to do slowly over time to give yourself the best benefit. So that's my opinion about carnivore, ketovore, and I'll continue doing these because I like to see what food does to my body. And clearly, high protein, high fat, when your stomach cannot digest it at that moment, is a bad idea. Bad idea. So that's my recommendation. I'm going to continue doing this because I like the vlogging to get an idea. But not keto or carnivore right now. Take care from JB's Brick Shack and Julia Carroll. Bye-bye.